Hi guys, so I thought I would do the tag video 7 Deadly Sins of Reading. I've wanted to do it ever since I saw it, and I know it's been making its way around YouTube. So here's what my books are for 7 Deadly Sins of Reading. The first question is greed, and it is, what is your most expensive book and what is your least expensive book? So probably my most expensive book would be Cleopatra by Stacy Schiff. This is the book that I needed to own immediately, even though I haven't read it yet. I have an absurd obsession with Cleopatra and all things Egypt. I even have a little area in my bookcase just for Egypt books. So I had to go out and buy this immediately. I don't try to buy books in hardback very often, but like I said, I had to get this one, and it was $33.99. So yeah. Also it's not one book, it's an entire set. I bought the Complete Works, the Anne of Green Gables set by Lucy Maud Montgomery. And if you have looked at us on the blog, you'll know that we're from PEI originally. So these books obviously take place on PEI, so they hold a special place in my heart. I haven't read all of them. I read the first few, and I plan to read them all this summer. The next is the least expensive. I get a lot of books for free or for very cheap. I like to buy things secondhand. So my best deals that I got were, I got The Help by Catherine Stockett at the library for $1, and I also picked up Rick Riordan's The Red Pyramid, again Egypt, and this one was for 50 cents. The next question is Wrath, and it's what author do you have a love-hate relationship with? So at this time, probably the author that I have the biggest love-hate relationship with would be two authors, actually. The first would be Ali Condi, and she's the author of the Matched series. So, Matched and Crossed. And so I really, really like these series. It's probably one of my favorites. And the reason I have a love-hate relationship with her is because I really, like I said, love this series, but the second book kind of fell flat a little bit for me. I know it's obviously the second book, it's leading up to something big in the third book, so I really have hopes that this story will turn around in the third book, but I'm being cautious, and that's probably why I have a love-hate relationship with the next author as well, which would be Lauren Oliver, and she's the Delirium and Pandemonium author. The second book is even better than the first book, but the ending just leaves me wanting so much more. So I love it, but I hate it because I have to wait for the next book, obviously. The next question is Gluttony. What book have you deliciously devoured over and over again with no shame? I'm not a person who often reads books over and over. The type of person who, once I read a book, I like to share it with other people. I tend to lend them to my friends or family, and I don't often read books or keep books for myself often to reread. So probably the book that I've reread the most would be Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Of the entire series, this is my absolute favorite book. You can see it's pretty worn. I've definitely read it a lot. I love this book. I think it's because of the challenges, the Triwizard challenges, and the new characters that are in this book that I really like it, and I want to read it again now that I have it taken out. The next question is Sloth. What book have you neglected to read due to laziness? Well, I picked a few, actually. The first one would be The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and it's by Stieg Larsson. This is the third in the Millennium Trilogy. I've read the first two, really, really enjoyed them, and watched the movies, and I just have not gotten around to read this book, which I really want to do. But it is quite a hefty novel, and it's hardcover, so again, I try not to get them, but sometimes you just have to. And then another one will be the series Pretty Little Liars. It's not that they're thick or anything like that, but I know now that there's about 12 books or so in the series, and I just keep falling behind and behind, and it just becomes so much I really want to read this series because I want to watch the TV series, and I won't watch things until I've read them, so I gotta get on it soon. The next question is Pride. What book do you most talk about in order to sound like a very intellectual reader? I don't read a lot of classics. If you checked out the blog, you'd also know that I have a 100-book challenge for classics, so I really have to read those, and that's probably another thing why I haven't read them is laziness. So the one book that I do love and I love to talk about would be Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I read this book for the first time in high school and I absolutely adore it. It's not a very thick read, as you can see. It's a pretty easy read, but it's probably the book that got me really into liking dystopian futures. And if you check out my Goodreads, you'll know that I read a lot of dystopian novels. So this book is so good. You should go read it right now if you haven't. One of the other books that not necessarily I talk about because I want to feel intellectual, but I feel great pride that I actually was able to accomplish it and finish it, is The Lord of the Rings, the trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is a really hefty book, as you can see. This is a bind-up of the entire trilogy, and it's well over 1,000 pages, so, and the print is so tiny. I was really proud to actually be able to make it through the entire book, and I actually really like the series, so sometimes I bring it up in conversations just to talk about having finished this book, I guess. The next one is Lust. What attributes do you admire or find the most attractive in females and male characters? For a female character, I would say I really like strong females. Someone like Anya Creed from the Rogue Angel series. She's just so badass. And also Finley Jane from the Girl in the Steel Corset. She can hang with the boys and yet she wears dresses. Hello, that's awesome. And for, also I would think of Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. She is so smart. She's not afraid to be smart. She's not afraid to show boys that she's smart. And she's just amazingly well written. I absolutely adore Hermione. For male characters, I like romantic, I like strong, I like rough, and you know, just, for example, I like Prince Cato in Cinder, I like Edward in Twilight, I like Will from Infernal Devices. Just to name a few. I mean, there's so many rolling around in my head that I just can't even think of all their names. The last question is envy. What books would you most like to receive as a gift? I think the thing right now that I want to receive the most would be The Girl in the Clockwork Collar, which is the second book to the Steampunk Chronicles. And I just finished reading this book, and I absolutely adored it. So I really want to know what happens because there's a cliffhanger at the end of this book. So I think that one will be the biggest one that I want right now. But also, I really like the look of the Penguin classics that are bound in cloth. And I would really like to get an entire set of those just to have it. That's all the questions. So if you guys have done this or video or are doing it, then you should leave a link below and I'll have a look at it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below as well. Have you read any of these books? What did you think? Just let me know, and hopefully I will hear from you guys. Alright, happy reading. Oh, and by the way, I will be doing a video tomorrow, so stay tuned.